On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Oklahoma City Thunder sit first place in the Western Conference, and the Thunder beat the Bucks. We'll talk about it all on today's show.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on in the Western Conference? Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. Subscribe for free across all podcasting platforms so you never miss an episode. On today's show, the craziest night in the association thus far happened on Friday as the Thunder catapult their way to the 1 seed right now, entering the final day of the regular season on Sunday. Let's talk about it all as the Thunder beat the Bucks. Today's show, of course, is brought to you by our good friends over at the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel, 24/7 streaming channel of all the latest news and sports. Go check them out as well. This was a crazy day. A game that does not, really matter in the craziness of today other than getting the win. So obviously, the Thunder taking care of business, the biggest part of that is the win against Milwaukee. Milwaukee was not themselves. They were not, their typical cast of characters with Giannis being out. I think that with the Thunder, you have to praise them for going into 2 straight matchups with the right attitude. They played a San Antonio team on Wednesday that was just a shell of themselves, did not care to be there, and practically played nobody. And then they come back and play a Bucks team on Friday who also was not in it in this game, but they did not take their foot off the gas. They continued to get out to a fast start, continued to keep the pedal down, and really nursed a 10-plus point lead all the way through until blowing the Bucks out of the water. So great job from the Thunder. They do their job. Then you look around the association and you look at what's happening in Minnesota. You look at what's happening in Denver, and you see that Minnesota barely hangs on after Atlanta makes a huge comeback, and the Hawks almost take down the Timberwolves. And then you see the spunky San Antonio Spurs go out there and get this wild win where they make a feverish comeback, only they actually get the win thanks to a Devontae Graham floater after they were once down by 23 points, 17 lead changes up until the Spurs got this win. They only led by as much as 3 all night and all those lead changes, and they won by 1 point. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs were able to capitalize on Denver down the stretch with a couple huge buckets and then force a 5-second call on Denver with 0.9 seconds to go. That result shifts everything out west. If the season ended today, it would be Thunder as the 1 seed, Timberwolves as the 2 seed, and Nuggets as the 3 seed. The play-in tournament would be the Kings against the Warriors in the 9-10 game and the Suns-Lakers in the 7-8 game. The winner of that Suns-Lakers game would go play Minnesota. The loser would go play the winner of Kings-Warriors to eventually play the Oklahoma City Thunder. Wow. This is something that a lot of people gave up on following that East Coast trip where you rest Shea and J-Dub for the duration outside of that New York game and suffer your first 3-game losing streak of the season. But now the Thunder are in a position entering Sunday where the Mavericks have already casted their fate. We're sitting here talking about all of the just different scenarios and different possible outcomes. The Western Conference has lived up to the billing. You can go back and listen to this, this show and in our preseason predictions. You can do the same for every other basketball show and see that we all thought that this would be a season that went down to the wire. This would be a season that was decided by 1 or 2 games. And while everything in the West is decided by 1 or 2 games, the only thing that's official is Dallas and LA being the 4-5. And Dallas has already said that they will not play Kyrie. They will not play Luka. Jason Kidd went as far to say 4 of the 5 starters will not play for Dallas and Oklahoma City. Tim Hardaway Jr., the only player who will play. So it'll be a lot of Omax, it'll be a lot of Jaden Hardy. And in the meantime, nobody controls their own destiny at the top. That is the most crazy thing. Nobody can just win Sunday and be the 1 seed. And the Thunder can't fall past 3. And now the Thunder actually have more scenarios where they're not 3 than scenarios where they are 3, which is just crazy. So the 2 scenarios that would plant the Thunder as the 3 seed would be if the Wolves win and then Thunder and lose and then the Nuggets win. So if the Wolves win and Nuggets win, the Thunder lose. Thunder are the 3. If the Wolves lose, Thunder lose, Nuggets win, the Thunder are the 3. Other than that, the Thunder are a 2 seed or better and waiting upon the Western Conference play-in tournament to wrap up to know who they're going to play. And the Thunder have a pretty decent chance at the 1 seed. They can get it in a variety of combinations. If everyone wins Sunday, the Thunder are the 1 seed. If everybody wins Sunday, it's Thunder, Minnesota, Denver. If it's a 3-way tie, the Thunder, and that's the same, of course, if they all lose. If they all lose or all win, 3-way tie still, it's Thunder going to the 1 seed. If it's a tie between Denver and the Thunder go to the 1 seed. If it's a tie between Denver and Minnesota, Minnesota goes to the 1 seed. It's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out on Sunday. I think, though, the more you watch this team, the more you should be confident in the only thing that matters is the bracket fallout. Because, yes, playing the Lakers is going to be tough if that's what the matchup it ends up being. But you cross that bridge when you get there, as the Lakers have to go win a couple playoff games to get to that point. Depending on how the play-in shakes out, of course. The thing that would be concerning would be if Minnesota gets the 1. I think that's the only bad outcome. Every other outcome is either incredible, great, or just let's start the playoffs. The only bad outcome would be Minnesota as the 1, because you do not want to be on the same side of the bracket as Denver. I know the success you've had against Denver, but that altitude's a real thing. Their home court advantage is a part of that, of course, with their fans, and also, of course, the altitude that plays a part in it literally as a huge advantage. You know who Denver is in the playoffs. And you can talk about what they've played like recently, including blowing this huge lead to San Antonio. Look what they did last year in March and April. They were awful in March and April. Then they rattled off a near perfect postseason en route to an NBA championship. So I don't think that anyone should want to be licking their chops to play Denver. You delay that for as long as possible. Getting the 1 seed would be great, because I think that while there's varying degrees of who you'd want to play, and we're going to get into that on Sunday morning before that Mavericks game, there's varying degrees of who you'd want to play, from the Lakers to the Warriors to the Suns and all them. But I think that in any world, you would pick the Thunder to win a series against these play-in teams. Body of work this season, you would pick the Thunder. And so having Game 7, not only in that series, but if you're the 1 seed, you have Game 7 all the way until the NBA Finals, where the only team that you would lose home court advantage to, of course, is Boston. So the home court advantage in Oklahoma City, I think, is huge. I think it's big for just a young team in general to play at home. I think you've seen how well this team plays at home. And then I think that the Thunder have one of the best home court advantages in the NBA. I think it's one of the only crowds that isn't too cool for school. Now, obviously, every playoff crowd will be into it, but there are different levels of into it that there are. So it's exciting heading into Sunday, but these huge, huge swings of outcomes that can happen are all still on the table, including who you would play no matter where you fall. There's no locked-in matchups in the play-in tournament. There's no locked-in matchups in the 6th seed, obviously. There's no locked-in matchups 1 through 3. We'll talk about it all, including recapping this Bucks game for whatever the Bucks game was worth coming up. But first, I want to tell you right now about our good friends over at Stitch Fix. Check out stitchfix.com/lockedon, stitchfix.com/lockedon. You know, it's awesome because new clothes are going to give you confidence. What about a new wardrobe? You can get that by visiting Stitch Fix because you get this stylist who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they're going to do the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe throughout the season. So make easy upgrades to your wardrobe with a professional stylist to help you find new on-trend favorites that work for you. You give your stylist the size, the style, the budget that you prefer. You open up the box and you see what you want. Hopefully, you'll want every piece, but if not, you just go ahead and send back the pieces that you don't like and that don't work for you, and go on about your day to help you, get to the point where they have a great understanding of what is in your style, but also on trend of the latest trends throughout the fashion world. So check it out today at Stitch Fix. They make it easy for you. If you don't like shopping, don't have the time, want to save the time, want to save the effort of shopping, and want to see what a stylist would pick out as an outfit for you, then go there and check it out at Stitch Fix. Go to stitchfix.com/lockedon, stitchfix.com/lockedon. Stitch Fix is the style that makes you feel good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon, stitchfix.com/lockedon. Also, I want to say right now about our good friends over at eBay Motors. Check out eBay Motors to have the MVP, the championship. It takes passion, drive, and patience to win a championship. eBay Motors does that for you to keep your ride or die vehicle alive. Whenever you're looking at eBay Motors, you're going to find the guaranteed fit to maintain your vehicle and keep it at peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from, your number one ride or die will always have the exact fit for you. eBay's guaranteed fit. It'll fit your ride every time, the first time, or your money back, because eBay Motors, you're going to be burning rubber, not cash, with all the parts of the prices you want. Make sure you keep your car at MVP status and bring home the huge win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only and exclusions do apply. Check it out today at ebaymotors.com. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. No NBA basketball on Saturday. Whole league is off. And then you go in on Sunday to this just bloodbath. Absolute bloodbath. The Thunder play the Mavericks. The same Mavericks who could not beat the Detroit Pistons on Friday. They'll be resting everybody under the sun. Tim Hardaway Jr., the only starter that's going to play for Dallas. You can check out Locked On Mavs and see how they feel about Tim Hardaway Jr. right now. Let's just count that as a win. I know you cannot possibly go into anything counting your chickens before they hatch. But for the sake of argument, the Thunder have, as they've shown this week at Spurs and Milwaukee, they can take care of business. I think that they're going to play their guys at least enough to get the win. They can talk about how they don't look at this stuff. They can talk about how they don't care. They can talk about all that they want to talk about. And that's stuff that they have to say. End of the day, though, you want to be the one seed. The goal of professional sports is never to lose in a situation like this. So I think that they're going to play. And I think that it does matter. Now, Denver, for example, it would not shock me one way or the other what Denver does. The caveat with Denver is they play Memphis. So Denver, they will not be able to put a crop of characters out there who are worse than Memphis. Memphis could sneak up and beat them if they just played nobody, but it'd be an even playing field, right? That's the worst that Denver can do, is get an even playing field. Dallas is able to get a worse playing field than Oklahoma City if Oklahoma City plays their guys. The reason I don't think that Denver cares is I do believe Denver is a veteran-laden group who can go on the road and win a playoff series and are not fazed by any of that. I do believe they don't care. I think that there are some slight advantages of not having to play a play-in team, especially as the one seed. Like the one seed, you don't find out your actual opponent until Friday, and the series starts on Sunday. So up until Friday, you are dividing and conquering your staff of all the possible outcomes, and you're not having your entire staff focus on one opponent, and your entire week of prep not being able to focus on one opponent. That's a huge loss. Same loss that the other team faces too, while also having to play multiple games in that stretch if you're the 1 seed. But still, it's a different loss. Where I think that Denver's fine if they're the 3 seed. I don't think that they really care too much. So Oklahoma City, let's give them a win for the sake of it'll be tough to lose to this Mavericks team. It'll be very tough to lose to this Mavericks team. And Denver, I think will win, but we'll talk about all the possible scenarios off of that. Minnesota is where things get really interesting. This game is at 2:30, just like the Thunder Mavericks game. All these games are going to be between noon and 2:30 tip times for the last day of the regular season. Minnesota plays Phoenix. That's important because Phoenix has something to play for. Dallas does not. Memphis does not. Phoenix has something to play for. Phoenix is trying to avoid the play-in tournament. What's the big knock on Phoenix? People always talk about how they have the star power. They have the guys like Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, who can take over series. They don't have the depth. They don't have the depth required to go win. What would you care more about? Pushing all out on Sunday's game to avoid playing 2 additional games before the first round, or possibly two additional games, or would you care more about not playing Sunday's game to win? So I think that they're going to play to win. The Suns are. You play to win the game. Minnesota, of course, they want the 1 seed as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that game goes. That will be the game to watch on Sunday. If you're just looking for something to watch on television. Heck, secret, circle of trust moment here. This does not leave the pod. I don't think many people on Media Row in Paycom Center Sunday will be watching the Paycom Center floor. I really don't. We'll be watching League Pass. We'll be checking out Timberwolves Suns. Shh, just between us. Well, here's what will happen on Sunday. The Thunder are going to win, I think. So here's all the possible scenarios that include the Thunder winning. Scenario 1, everybody wins between the Nuggets, Wolves, and Thunder. Thunder, the 1 seed. Minnesota's the 2 seed. Denver's the 3 seed. If the Thunder win, Minnesota wins, and Denver loses, Minnesota's the 1 seed. Oklahoma City's the 2 seed. Denver's the 3 seed. If the Thunder win, Denver wins, and Minnesota loses, the Thunder are the 1 seed. Denver is the 2 seed, and Minnesota is the 3 seed. Those are the possible outcomes that include Thunder wins. So if the Thunder win on Sunday, the lowest possible outcome for them would be the 2 seed. Would be the 2 seed for the Thunder. The way you get to the 3 seed would be if the Thunder and Wolves lose and the Nuggets win. Nuggets are 1, and then Wolves and Thunder are tied. That becomes a single tiebreaker between Minnesota and OKC. Minnesota has that tiebreaker. And then if the Wolves win and the Nuggets win and the Thunder lose, it'll be Thunder at 3. So I really don't think that you have much to worry about in the department of the Thunder losing. So it seems extremely likely that the Thunder will be a 1 or 2 seed and be staring down the barrel of playing a play-in opponent, which will make the play-ins matter a lot. And we'll probably need to fire up a watch playback and watch these play-in games together. But I think it's fascinating, though, because we spent all this time ranking playoff opponents. We're going to do it again on Sunday morning, ranking playoff opponents. But now that Judgment Day's here, so to say, and now that you're staring down a Pelicans team that's playing incredible basketball right now, the Kings have dramatically fallen off, and they're facing with a ton of injuries. The Suns, the Thunder have had great success against the Suns this year. The Warriors are not, they're having a great run recently, but they're not who they used to be. These are not your uncle's Warriors. And then the Lakers, who have given the Thunder fits. And they're still the team I don't want to play. Here's where it comes into play, though, if you're the 1 seed. If you're the 1 seed, you lock yourself into no Denver round 2, You're able to control that. And your round 2 matchup will be the 2 most inconsistent teams left in the playoffs. Because I don't think that Minnesota will be upset. And if you are in round 2, you have taken care of the play-in, the play-in team that ends up going to the round 1 game against the 1 seed. All that will be left, though, of the inconsistent teams will be Clippers, Mavericks. The Clippers are already starting the Kawhi hokey pokey. Is he in? Is he out? Ty Lue's hoping he'll play. Like a week away. What was this all for if you're not sure he's going to play? Luka and Kyrie are fantastic. I'm deathly afraid of Dallas in the sense of no matter who's around them, Luka Doncic can go win you a playoff series. Kyrie has hit massive shots after massive shots in his career. No doubt about that. But in round 2, is PJ Washington going to knock down 1 billion threes per game? Maybe. Maybe not. So, point being, you'd rather play one of the 2 most inconsistent teams left in the Western Conference playoffs than you would to walk into either Denver or to walk into Minnesota, who's been a very consistent team this year. And then, if you take care of that, you're in the Western Conference Finals, and then anything can happen. The Thunder can beat anybody. And the Thunder don't get put up against a team that I think that they would be picked against nationally or locally until the Western Conference Finals. Now, that being said, if they play the Lakers, of course, nationally, everyone's going to pick the Lakers. Everybody will. I think that people who've watched this Thunder team understand that the Lakers are the biggest threat and would pick it to be just a vile series. But I still think the Thunder would outlast the Lakers in a series. But you don't want it to get to that point, obviously. They'd be the lowest rung of team you would want to play that is available to you. But right now, we're 1 game away from the regular season being over, and you could still play the Pelicans, Lakers, Suns, Warriors, Kings. We'll see. We'll see who they end up being brought out to them in the Western Conference Finals. Let me know how you think it'll wrap up in the West. What will happen on Sunday to determine the standings? Let me know down below on YouTube and on Twitter at Rylan_Styles. You can also check out our good friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is awesome. FanDuel is there for you as America's #1 sports book. Right now, it's playoff time in the NBA and NHL, plus baseball's in full swing. FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, guaranteed. Bet on everything you want, from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all in the app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. Go there right now by visiting FanDuel.com/lockedon to make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel.com is America's #1 sports book. And let's see what FanDuel is out there saying about these here season finales, which will be so big in the standings. You have the Minnesota Timberwolves at home against Phoenix. Favorites by 4.5 points. By 4.5 points. That's the only line out yet for a game tomorrow, with some injury reports still uncertain on the other games. But interesting note there. So go check it out today at FanDuel.com/lockedon. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. That was a crazy night of basketball. Shout out to Devontae Graham, Kansas legend, getting it done. Rock chalk it up for the San Antonio Spurs. The game against Milwaukee is useless in the sense of just breaking it down and diagnosing it. It is huge in the sense of the Thunder actually took care of business, like Elvis's backup band, 125-107. SGA got really hot really fast, and then I think that he was trying to really rack up some points there. He took 7 threes in this game. I think that it quickly got out of hand for this group. Chet Holmgren was awesome in terms of his midi game. He had a Dirk fade, he had a nice rise up mid range shot around the elbow area, and ends up with 22 points. Worth noting that he came back in the game after icing his leg with a leg sleeve, leg calf sleeve of sorts that was not on his leg previously in the game or previously this season for the most part. So I don't know, something to note. But he was in great spirits post game in his post game press conference, just fantastic spirits, and is really pushing to play game 82 and then thus playing all 82 games this year as a rookie. Huge accomplishment for him. J-Dub had very fun moments with 17 points, but the story of the night is Aaron Wiggins. 24 minutes from him, 19 points, a couple and ones, 3 assists, 3 rebounds from him, and 2 assists, 2 steals, 66% from the floor. Aaron Wiggins just makes winning plays. And this is not to say that Gordon Hayward played bad, because I don't think that he did. I think that he's continuing to round himself into form with this Thunder group. But you just have a supercharged version of what you hope Hayward brings you. Like, what is Wiggins missing? He's a supercharged version of Gordon Hayward on defense, who can just switch everything and actually be a plus for you defensively, and not just a passable grade for you defensively. He has the shot at every level on the floor. Aaron Wiggins has the advantage shooting the basketball. Like, we look at Gordon Hayward as just elite scorer, which is what he has been his whole career, and obviously he's not really found his spots to thrive as a scorer in Oklahoma City. But Wiggins is shooting 44% from 3, 51% on non-corner threes, and 44% in the mid-range, and 67% at the rim. Like, he has scored efficiently. He has scored at all 3 levels efficiently as this play finishing player off of these high usage cards, high usage go-to scorers like Shea and like J-Dub. So I think that Wiggins, I'll continue to beat the drum and sound like a broken record that he has to play a ton of minutes. 24 is going to be an interesting postseason. I think one of the best postseasons there is. The Thunder once led in this game by 29 points. Milwaukee only led by 3. 5 lead changes, 3 ties. Thunder get outboarded 42-38, but the Thunder forced 7 more turnovers than they committed, and they win the points in the paint battle. They win second chance points, and they lose fast break points, interestingly enough, 17-15. Thunder shot 52, 34, and 90. Milwaukee shot 49, 36, 92. Look, I'll be honest with you. The game did not matter and did not have a ton of takeaways. What was the most important part was what happened outside of Oklahoma City, what happened with Devontae Graham and those guys down in San Antone. Just this team, I think, is going to have a special postseason run. And I think that whenever you look at what happens on Sunday, it just continues to add to the start of a possible storybook run. Now, one thing to note, and we'll talk about this again on Sunday morning, but one thing to note, if the Thunder shake out as the 1 seed after Sunday's games, that locks you into a Sunday playoff game 1. That would mean that you have off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 6 days off for Chet Holmgren, 6 days off for the Thunder. I singled Chet out specifically because, like we've talked about in this show, Mark talked about pregame. Chet has shown you that he can give you a huge boost after long layoffs. Notably, start of the season very strong. Notably, was massive out of All-Star break with these high volume games. 6 days off is going to be really good for him. Plus, the added boost of being in a playoff series is going to be good for him and the rest of the team as well, but specifically for Chet Holmgren. So that's another benefit of the 1 seed, is that you get to be locked into a Sunday game, because the reason being is you're going to be playing the play-in, the play-in team after 2 games. So the last play-in game will be Friday. You can't have a back-to-back in the playoffs. Therefore, it'll be Friday to Sunday for that play-in team. What else is there? Monday, before we forget, Monday will be the OKC Blue Game 3 of the G League Finals, because they won Game 2 with a ton of Thunder players in attendance, and they won it on the home court with Lindy Waters and company going off. It'll be a fun Game 3, because you're going to see Jordan Walsh down there. You're going to see Lindy Waters down there. You're going to see Oos down there. Keontae is still day-to-day. with an injury that he suffered in game 1 of the NBA G League Finals. But game 3, winner take all game 3. No NBA games on that night. It's the night before the play-in, and all through the house on a creature stirring than even a mouse. So you should go there and get you some basketball action on Monday by watching the Maine Celtics take on the OKC Blue in Portland, Maine, for the right to hoist a championship trophy. It'll be fun. Make sure you check that out as well. But tomorrow, on Sunday morning, this is our agenda. Sunday morning, we'll be joined by Michael Martin to talk about what we want to happen and what the Thunder should hope does not happen. Best and worst case scenarios. Sunday evening, after the Mavericks game, we're going to kick off our playoff previews. It'll be a solo, no more hosted show Sunday, where we predict the playoffs. Just all my thoughts on the postseason, because I want to get all my thoughts out throughout the week. We're going to have 1,000,000,001 guests on throughout the week. All the names you know and love around the Thunder space and basketball space will be on the show, giving you their thoughts on what will happen in the postseason. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that. And then we have a podcast every single day in the playoffs, Monday through Sunday in the playoffs, and bonus podcasts just like on Sunday morning ahead of the Thunder Mavericks game. We'll be doing a lot more of that throughout the playoffs as well. So make sure you're ready for it by subscribing to every single podcasting platform you can to Locked On Thunder. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple, subscribe on Spotify, everywhere to Locked On Thunder. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. It's at RYLAN_STILES. And until tomorrow morning, be good and be good to one another.